What's up, guys? The mighty ZF500 here with another edition of ZF500's Encyclopedia Dynasty Warriors edition. Today we're going to go over Dynasty Warriors 5, 5 Extreme Legends, and 5 Empires. Now keep in mind, much like Dynasty Warriors 4 Empires, I won't be spending a whole lot of time on this one, as I didn't really spend a whole lot of time on it when it first came out. Now, Dynasty Warriors 4 had a decent success over here in America and over in Japan, but not nearly as well as 3 did. Still, fans craved for more, so Koei released Dynasty Warriors 5 in March of 2005. Like usual, Dynasty Warriors 5 added in new characters, stages, weapons, and various other things. Musou mode is still the same, though who you play has more of an impact on the story and each general has their own ending. Free mode is still the same, allowing you to play any character on any stage. Versus mode is now gone and has not returned since. Challenge mode is still in, and it has the online ranking system, though the site is no longer available to register your scores. The Encyclopedia is in with more character entries and useful information about the Three Kingdoms area. Very interesting stuff. Personally. Camp allows you to view all your items, bodyguards, character stats, weapons, as well as their costumes. Create a Warrior is no longer in Dynasty Warriors 5, as well as the Create a Bodyguard system. You now acquire bodyguards randomly at the end of the stage, and will have different stats based on their rating. With the superior / S rank bodyguard, their stats will be maxed upon reaching their final level 6 and having their ability slots full. Now, I could go into a bunch of details of what each of these do, but honestly, they doesn't really matter. It's kind of cool, but your bodyguards are still not as useful as you would like to, as they still get murdered by other generals in chaos difficulty. Though if you're just playing through normal mode, they're really cool. You're now limited to 1 bodyguard compared to the 6 that you had before, though this is compensated by the fact that they're much stronger than the old bodyguards, especially good ones with good stats and elements. But like I said, still not as useful as having a second player with you. It was a pretty cool idea. I just wish you could have customized them a little bit. Combat remains the same, though the combo system has been altered again. Like usual, I'm going to be using Zhangfei to demonstrate. Triangle is no longer a grab, it is now a quick ground pound. Square triangle still knocks enemies in the air. Square triangle is pretty much the same from 4. 3 squares plus triangle is a crowd clear. 4 squares is a AoE crowd clear, but only hits in front. 5 is the same from 4, which is just a big ground pound. Hits everybody around you instead of the same from 4, where you just hit in front. Also, I didn't mention in Dynasty Warriors 4 that if you jumped and hit triangle, you did a ground pound. Musou acts the same as last time. It's an invincible crowd clear, and when you're in low health, it becomes in fire enchanted, and it does it lasts a little bit longer. New to Dynasty Warriors 5 is the Musou Rage. This little icon here will appear when killing random enemies. Once you've picked up a Musou Rage, see at the bottom left corner is that spinning medallion, you can activate it to get various effects, like sped up attack. You also get the Musou Rage special, which is basically when your health is in low, except you don't have to have low HP to do it. Keep in mind, this does not last very long, so use it sparingly. Really, use it when you really need it, when you're getting your butt kicked. Stats are increased as the same method as before. You kill generals for attack and defense, and HP and Musou are hidden in jars, but new to Dynasty Warriors 5, you actually can obtain life ups from generals. It's no longer just, okay, go to this level over and over and over again, find these boxes. They changed it so you can actually get life ups from generals, so that's really nice. The weapon system has reverted back to the way Dynasty Warriors 3 did it. You kill officers or open boxes strewn about the stages to find weapons. What weapon you get is random, as well as the stats that you get on the weapon are random. But new to the weapon system is the weight attribute. If a weapon is heavy, it'll have a slow attack speed, but if it's light, then it will attack very fast. This is an interesting attribute, but really worthless when it comes down to it. Some of the ultimate weapons had heavy on them, and it just made them really frustrating to use, at least in my opinion. It was a little bit more realistic having, say, you know, a big freaking ball on a stick, slow, you know, it wouldn't make much sense having it attack really quick, but still, it was annoying. The weapons also have this extra stat to them, which allows you to go past the standard 6 presses of square to 9 presses of square, but you can't use the combo ender during any of those extra attacks. items remain pretty much the same, though the elemental orbs have received a slight tweak. Fire does the same as it always has. Light enemies on fire, keep them there, and wait for lots of damage over time, though it's not as strong as it once was. Ice is back in and still freezes enemies in place, allowing you to get tons of damage without having to worry about them blocking. Just nice, and it is the best element, in my opinion, to be using in Dynasty Warriors 5. Shadow Orb replaces the Vorpal Orb, but it has a similar effect, though it's not nearly as useful, as it now requires you to have Musou Bar to even get its effect off. That sucks. Light Orb is back from Dynasty Warriors 4, which allows you to break through the enemy's guards. Not that good. Well, that's about all that Dynasty Warriors 5 has to offer. It took out quite a few modes and features, so it's not as expansive as you would have thought an update to a series would be. Though, the story mode is much better, and it flashes out the characters even much more than the last games. Next, let's move on to Dynasty Warriors 5 Extreme Legends. Dynasty Warriors 5 Extreme Legends was released in November of 2005 and was met with mediocre reviews, though this is nothing new to a Dynasty Warriors game. As far as the Extreme Legends expansions goes, this is my least favorite of them all, and it really didn't add anything new. Instead, it just put features that were missing from 5 that were in 4. Creator Warrior is back and is comparable to the Dynasty Warriors 4 Empire's Creator Warrior. When 5 came out and it didn't have Creator Warrior, many fans were displeased, and it still confuses me why they would keep out such a popular feature. Creator Bodyguard is still nowhere to be seen and has yet to return in any of the Dynasty Warriors games. Let's go over some of the modes in Extreme Legends, starting with Extreme Mode. This mode is very similar to Extreme Mode in 4. You choose a character, and keep in mind that their stats are at the base level, so you're going to be very weak. Then you try and complete as many missions as possible without dying. Like in 4, I really don't care for this mode, and it doesn't really unlock anything, and it gets old really quick. Destiny mode is a unique mode, as it's based around your Creator Warrior. There are 2 ways of making a character in Dynasty Warriors 5 Extreme Legends. One is by using the Edit mode, and the other is going through Destiny mode. Destiny mode allows you to go through a story mode of sorts with your created character and boost their stats and abilities. Starting off, you choose a faction and the general you would like to serve under. Then the game puts you on a set path through various missions. Before each battle, you can purchase skills, attributes, and various other things. Keep in mind, you start off extremely weak. You only have 2 presses of the square to work with at level 1 because you're basically starting as a peon. That's right, it's the first Dynasty Warriors game that you actually play as a peon. That's just weird. Now you get points you need to purchase these skills by completing certain objectives in the stage, which you can look up before each battle. These vary from keeping your health up above a certain percentage, or just killing so many enemies. It's pretty easy. Now this is a really interesting mode, and it's much more fun than doing the extreme mode, which I suggest just stay away from. Finally is the Legend mode, which is similar to the Legend mode in 4, but it's not nearly as good. In 4XL, you could choose a character and run through a character-specific storyline, unlike in Musou mode, which was a faction-specific storyline. In 5XL, you choose from stages that involve several characters. They're more like bonus stages than anything. They're still pretty fun to do, and they're an alternate way of unlocking the ultimate weapons. So speaking of weapons, this is the first Dynasty Warriors Extreme Legends game to not introduce new legendary weapons. This was very disappointing to me and my friends, as that was one of our favorite things to do. They did add tons of new items, which range from useful to marginally useful. In camp mode, you can now power up non-legendary weapons using points you obtain after a battle. These are universal and can be used on anyone and any weapon. This was Koei's way of saying, "You don't like our ultimate weapons? Well, go make your own, you little bastards." Thanks, Koei. Believe it or not, that's about it for Dynasty Warriors 5 Extreme Legends. An overall decent expansion, but definitely not one of my favorites. Now it's time to move on to the final Dynasty Warriors 5 game. Dynasty Warriors 5 Empires. Dynasty Warriors 5 Empires was released in March of 2006, and again was released with mediocre reviews. Like Dynasty Warriors 4 Empires, it's Dynasty Warriors with a touch of strategy. You choose your faction, your character, then you're off to conquer China with your brilliant strategies and such. Not so much in my case. As I mentioned before, I don't know too terribly much about this game. I only ran through it once. Really, this game is only for the hardcore Dynasty Warriors fans who need a fix and do not want to wait for the next Dynasty Warriors game. They always seem to release these just months before the next major title in the series is released. The cool thing in this one, compared to 4, is the fact that you can actually unlock stuff, so that adds quite a bit of replay value. They also added in a free mode, which allows you to run through any of the scrimmages. Now, I would show you guys some footage of the game, but my disc isn't really liking it for some reason, and there's not any scratches on it. I think my PS2 may be dying, which is unfortunate. But honestly, I don't have much to show you for this game. It's Dynasty Warriors 5 with some strategy, like I mentioned. The Creator Warrior is in, and it's pretty much the same as it was in 5XL. It even lets you import your character from 5XL, which is really nice. The gameplay is a bit more complicated than it was in 4 Empires. You have much more control of the land and what actions should be taken. On harder difficulties, it becomes imperative that you make allies, or else everyone will just crush you. Honestly, that's all I can say about Dynasty Warriors 5 Empires. It's a decent game, but really didn't do a whole lot for me. Overall, Dynasty Warriors 5 was a great game. Fell short in the expectations in certain areas. Koei doesn't stop there, because in the next episode, we're going to go over what is considered the worst Dynasty Warriors games in the entire series. Dynasty Warriors 6. Oh, God. Till then, guys, take care.